Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to update one of my older guides on how to level efficiently in Black Desert. So I made a video similar in 2023 and 2024, but as we all know, every year the game gets easier to an extent. And I wanted to talk about some of the old things and see how relevant they still are, as well as what has changed over the past year. So I assume that you are a beginner and you're just watching this because you want to like either level up your seasonal characters fast, or you just want to try something new and you don't want to go through the grind all over again. So first of all, I'm going to talk about this from a solo perspective, because if you're already established in the game and like let's say you have friends and guildies, you could just grind or get boosted at Gyfin, get like 1 to 62 in like 2 hours or something like that. But from a newer player perspective, I wanted to go over basically what I would do solo and, without like too much gear, and just something that everyone can do. So whether you're on seasons or not, here's what I would do. So you start from, Western Guard Camp right here. Your goal is to get like level 61 or 62. I think 62 is, the average these days, simply because it unlocks this passive for every class, and it's essentially like more damage or whatever your passive for the class you're playing. So, okay, so here's what I would do, assuming you were playing solo. First of all, you start at Western Guard Camp, do the beginner intro story all the way to Velia. That's probably like 15 minutes, and then you should probably be level 15. Alternatively, you could just skip it and go straight to the grind, but like it does give you some decent items early on. Then I would go to Castle Ruins. It says from level 18 to 21. You can probably start there at like level 14 or something and go to mid 20s or 30s if you want to. And then following that, you go to Bloody Monastery, and probably you could stay here till mid 30s or even 40s if you find it comfortable and you like it. And then following that, we go to Marnie's Lab from 40 to like, I guess mid 40s. And then after that, you could go to Catfishman Camp or, whatever until 50s. After 50s, what I would do is Soldier Cemetery, because this is a little bit easier than Polly's Forest. And it's also nearer to a town. So if you're a new player, you don't have a lot of weight. You probably don't really know how to horse stack and everything. So just there's an NPC like literally right here where you can just sell your trash loot and everything. Plus it's near a town, so it's super easy. You could stay here till 56, and then go down to Polly's from like 56 to I guess you could stay here till 61. And then if you're thinking about pushing past 61 to 62, I would probably recommend, this is probably a little bit past season for a 61 plus, but you could try doing Elvia or Camp, which is like 260-ish AP, and that could take you all the way to like 66 if you wanted to, but I think it drops off around 64, at least from my experience. And then other good spots for XP are Underwater Sakraya, and obviously Mirror Mock and Gyfin, but those are, higher end. But Gyfin Underground, surprisingly enough, they don't recommend this in the game. Like, the Monster Zone info that we talk about, they don't actually recommend Underground Gyfin for XP, even though it is literally the #1 spot. So yeah, you could grind here up until 66. And then I believe that like people said Ezraheed Highlands is decent. I was already like 60, I think 65 or 66 by the time this came out, so I can't really say for sure, but aside from that, that's how we do it. Now, here's where the fun part begins. This is one of the images that I made a couple of years ago, and essentially I listed off all the buffs that people probably can get regularly, and not like, extremely limited events or event buffs that you can only get like 5 of, and then you're like, okay, wait till next year. So if I remember correctly, everything on the left side, like the combat book, the yellow scroll, and all that stuff, these are things that you can buy off the central market, and or stuff that they give you through seasonal, playtime. So it's like regular, you don't have to spend too much money. Whereas the things on the right side are either limited events, paid things, or, you know, just like something that you don't have on the regular, or you cannot keep 100% uptime throughout, you know, you're on a regular. So this is probably a couple years old, and I still want to talk about this and see what's relevant and what changed over the years. So it's actually pretty interesting that I found this video. So the combat book, as we all know, it's the, hold on. The combat book is this thing. You guys probably unironically have a bunch of these that you don't use, these combat books. Plus, you know, you get them from seasonals, I believe, and various events. So if you haven't already used them, you probably have a bunch of them. Next, we have the yellow scrolls. I should probably move this over here. 1 second. Okay, cool. So, yellow scrolls. Probably all of these. So, like the 200, the 300, or the 530. These 530s are limited. They give it like once a year, and they give you like 53 of them to celebrate something. But on the regular, you probably have a bunch of 300s and 200s. Just make sure to read the tooltip to make sure what stacks and what doesn't, because some of these do not stack with other ones, so you just have to make sure. Blessed Scroll is this one. Lightstone combo is, let me see if I have another character that has it, but let me see. Uh-oh. I know a character has it. So basically, here's what you do. It's this, essentially. XP, what you would do. Monster AP, and then combo with like the 4 alerts. So you get 25% times 4, and then the combo gives you another 300%, so it's 400 total. And that's what the Lightstone combo is. And then you just put that on whatever artifacts you think is best. It's strictly for XP, so that's nice. Those are also cheap to buy. Simple cron meals are for XP as well. You should be using these anyway. We talked about that in a lot of other ones. Beast drafts are, you know, I would say more beginner things, but if you're just trying to strictly push XP over damage, well, these give XP and like these don't, but one gives more damage. So it depends where you grind. Kydex crystals actually is about a little bit outdated because they used to give, let me show you. Back in the day, they gave Kydex crystals that were 10%. And I wonder, do I actually still have any? Yeah, so remember these Kydex crystals that were 10%? This is before seasons were like on a permanent schedule, and you know, they're very limited. And nowadays, most people won't even know what those crystals are because the ones that they give are these. And these give 20%. So these are just strictly better, and you should be using them anyway. So make sure, like, the number one thing you could do is set up your crystal setup for strictly XP gain. And then the Gearins tier is actually just better because it gives 75%. And nowadays, these are actually affordable. If you watch the video from like last year, these were 5 billion silver. And ever since like Land in the Morning like 2 and the boss shrines have become more common, these dropped in prices. So yeah, you could probably get a Gearins tier very easily now to like surprisingly under 1 billion, which I remember those days when you get the level 2 one and those are worth like 2 billion. Yeah, like those are like hitting the jackpot. Nowadays, these are irrelevant. So I wonder if I still have one for sale. Oh yeah, like these. Yeah, I used to sell these for like 2 billion. Now the hard minimum feels bad, but these are actually still really good. So that's what you want to make sure to do. Church buffs are church buffs. The way you find it, go here, hit the church button, and then they'll take you to the local church and get your buffs in there. Black Spirit buff is the 50 to 100 energy for like 20%. Tent buff is tent buff. Villa scroll. Combat scroll is this one, so that's 300. Let's see. I believe those are still relevant, actually. Let's talk about the extras now. Now, these are the ones that are limited and you cannot sustain on a regular without either spending a lot of money or you just save them. So just time limited. So the XP scroll, that's 530%, is this one right here. Once again, we talked about it, how that's like limited to like maybe once a year. That gives you 53 of them or something. So you just make sure to use these in relevant spots and everything. The Spirit Stone is the beginner. The beginner thing that they give you on seasons, which is these things right here. And it just gives you 50% combat XP. The bell, obviously the pay to win thing. So it's like, it's this thing, the golden bell. I don't even know why I still have it. I just think I had one from years ago that I just kept. But 100% from there. Old Moon Book is one of these buffs right here. That's another 100%. Keep in mind, all these percents are additive and not multiplicative. So like, let's say you grind spot is base 100% XP. If you were to stack everything, it's plus 2,900, not like 100 times 2,900. So yeah, that's already been tested and it's additive, not multiplicative. And a night buff is obviously grinding at night. Most of the time, I think for most people, it doesn't matter. At some high-end grind spots, it's actually kind of scary. Like Dekia Ash 2, high-end grind spot, nighttime, kind of scary. Olin's at night. Dark Seekers at night. A little bit sketch, but like ultimately doable. Weekend buff is, you know, generally the GM buff and all that stuff. Right now we have an event that's giving plus 1,000% for at least another few days. And then obviously the costume buff. I think everyone should probably have one. And even if you don't, I believe, do these give like extra outfits? Like, you know, the ones that they give you in game? Do these give you like combat XP? Even if not, they give out so many outfits throughout just playing the game. Like, even if you don't spend any money, chances are you probably have some sort of outfit, right, that you like. And then guild buff is literally just a guild buff. So that was all the buffs from back in the day that was maximum. Now, I believe, like, if limited extra buffs that they probably stack and give a lot of are, you know, you could probably stack a bunch of other things. But these aren't completely normal. And I guess one other thing I would recommend is probably furniture buffs. I believe there are some limited furniture buffs that give combat XP and everything. So that's always nice. And then, you know, whatever other buffs. So those are the buffs that I'd recommend using. And realistically, of that list, the ones on the left are more regularly obtained. And the ones on the right are, you know, cash shop spent or limited time. So I would say it's actually pretty hard to sustain all those buffs for more than 1 hour at a time, just because there's so many things. So one tip that I can give you, if you have the continuous care, basically the fairy that pops things for you, you could just like stack all your buffs in your thing and then have them pop. But do I think that's really, you know, important or not? Not really. These days, I think the continuous care is less relevant, because back in the day, before harmonies, we would have to manually set all of these, and this is what it would look like. But nowadays with harmonies, you just literally put it on like a hotkey, and then that's literally the equivalent of doing all blues. So yeah, it's a little bit less relevant. You could just stack like XP buffs or whatever these days, which I think is actually a nice quality of life for everyone. And yeah, there's probably a bunch of other stuff that I forgot. Like if you have any extra stuff over here that you didn't already take, chances are there's probably some other buffs. But I guess nowadays I didn't really include like all of these extra buffs simply because you can't sustain them. These are very limited event kind of things. So like you can always stack extra stuff from here. And yeah, I think those are also important, but also, wait, hold on. These are all, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, you can also add the, where is it? Hold on. Oh yeah, the Crow's Insignia plus 30%. Is this one really worth it? No. No, it's 30%. You won't even notice a difference. But, I mean, 30% is 30%. So if you want that one, I think realistically what most people do is keep this one when you're like questing. And that's questing till 61. And then this one when you're just randomly grinding. And the Caprice Journal when you're life skilling. So it really just depends on what you're doing. Those are all the things that I can tell you, and how to grind efficiently and how to maximize your XP buffs. That's what I would do. So hopefully that helped you. If you guys still have questions and concerns or anything, feel free to ask. Drop in the comments. You could join the Discord. And if you are looking for an alternative way and you don't like grinding that much, so let's say you get to level 56, right? Or maybe even 58 because it's not that difficult these days. What you could do is quest till 61. You need the Shuriken's Tomb, and then you would probably start around like here, and probably, you know, like, oh wait, somewhere around here, then the Berlin Farm, and you just keep going down here and just keep going down all the way to Grana, and then there's a bunch of quests you could do all the way to 61. I believe I have a video. It's probably a couple hours. If you're doing it for the first time, if you know what you're doing, you can speed through like probably 60 to 61 in like an hour just by, you know, questing. If you really don't like grinding, that's an alternative. But that's about it. So hopefully those are some buffs and tips that I can give you to level up quickly and efficiently. And I just told you where to grind solo if you have a guild and you just have friends to help power level you at like Gyphon. That's also an option. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about it from mostly a solo perspective and what you could do. So that's all from me today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you come back. Drop a like on the video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.